Life and Advantage General is
7 a.m. and it's now time for the Morning Watch.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you are overseas and on the move, U.S. listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you are in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the main watch, AI, artificial intelligence. It's the spirit of deception or just a scam. And in the second watch, health ministry suspends youth chatbot. We'll be having another discussion on that topic this morning. For our social media question, we ask, is AI technology just life or a tool of the devil? Share your responses in our Facebook or YouTube Love 101 FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp comments and voice notes to 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your commentation on the program, but first, as I quote.
All right, good morning. Today's I quote says, if we don't change, we don't grow. If we don't grow, we aren't really living. And this is from Gail. I believe the last name is Sheehy, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that's the quote for today.
Well, I think the I quote speaks for itself.
I agree.
The main watch will be back after this break.
Did you know that many of my schoolmates are on unhealthy diets, especially at school, and now 23% of them are overweight and are obese? And so one less sugar drink at my school may mean one friend less, or two or three, at risk of cavities or diabetes. And if we're serving less foods high in saturated fats, sugar, and sodium, it may reduce our risk from obesity, heart disease, and high blood pressure. The solution is simple, right? Act now. Let's get unhealthy foods and beverages out of our schools.
A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
Jamaica's gangs are like packs of rats. They live in filth and try and drag us all in there with rats, spreading the disease of violence and corruption everywhere. But like a pack of rats, they can be eliminated with your help. If you have information on gangs, call Crime Stop on 311. This message is brought to you by Crime Stop and their marketing partners, Lime and NCB.
On your mark, set, get ready to go. It's time for the True Juice 5K, the one-of-a-kind experience taking you through the beautiful True Juice orchards in Norwalk, Sunday, July 21, 2024. Register now at truejuice.com. Entry fee only $2,500. Come run, walk, and have fun while raising funds for the Lincoln Hospital. Follow at True Juice on Instagram for more details.
Hurricane Beryl has left many in St. Elizabeth urgently needing assistance. We here at the family station Love 101 invite you to be your brother's keeper by donating non-perishable items, bottled water, clothing, hygiene products, over-the-counter medicine, and more by Thursday, July 18, 2024. Please drop off your contributions at our office, 81 Hagley Park Road, Kingston 10. For cash donations, call us at 876-968-9596 or 876-968-9597. Thank you for your contribution. We are stronger together.
back to the Morning Watch. I'm Stokeley. I'm not sure. We were having a slight challenge a moment ago with our audio. We do apologize for that. Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. For those just joining or those who might have experienced the effects of that disruption in our audio a moment ago. Now, in Jamaica, Dr. Michael Abrahams, well-known medical doctor, and of course, iconic Judy Mort are among a few persons who have been victims of what has been described as an AI scam, AI for artificial intelligence. Now, a few persons or many persons may have seen certain ads that were supposedly being starred in by well-known persons, to include Dr. Abrahams and Judy Mort. And the concern is, how can this be, especially when these individuals did not take part in any such advertisements? And they are not the only ones it's being indicated. Other names have been called as well of well-known Jamaicans. What are the implications of such a situation, both legally and even spiritually, biblically? We have as our guests today to look at this very interesting phenomenon. These are not things we are necessarily accustomed to. We have Chuck Cameron, an attorney at law and well-known privacy practitioner in the area of, there are many persons now who seek his advice in terms of data protection, etc., design privacy. And we also have Mr. Silton Townsend. He's founder of Hello Neighbor on Love 101 FM. Hello, my neighbor. And of course, he's a well-known lay preacher. And I would also add that Silton Townsend is also an icon in his own right, because he might have first come to fame as being Mas Gussie on the show Lime Tree Lane that was aired regularly on another network. Good morning, Mas Gussie, and good morning, Mr. Cameron. How are you both?
Morning, doing good.
Silton Townsend? You sound very far away. We're beginning to hear you now, but you sound so a little bit far away. I think we're trying to address that as we speak. Starting with you, Mr. Cameron, what does it mean for persons like Dr. Abrams and, of course, Judy Mort to be in a situation like this, where they find their images and their voices even being used in these situations, in advertisements, in broadcasts that they have nothing to do with?
So it is in the concept of imitating another individual is not new to Jamaica or new to the world.
But in this kind of situation, in terms of artificial intelligence.
So let us not focus on the tool that is being used, because it was happening before artificial intelligence. As a result of artificial intelligence, it is much more effective. But
let's look at that, because I don't know if before now you had this sort of almost, it's as if it's the person, but it's not the person.
So what used to happen before now, is that persons with ill intent used to take over someone's social media page and used to communicate with persons in the Facebook Messenger, or they would steal their identity and take over their WhatsApp account, and then they'll start communicating with persons over WhatsApp. So it is the exact same impact. It's just that now you may have the ability to see the person, looking at the person. When you ask a question, what does that mean for the individual who has been imitated? The impact on the third party who has been imitated is consistent. That's why I said the focus should not necessarily be on the tool that is used, because the impact, when you're asking about the perspective from the person who was imitated, the impact is what we should concern ourselves. And that person could possibly be exposed to his financial account being stolen, because what we're speaking about is identity theft. An individual unknown to you or known to you takes over your identity. And there are many ways to take over your identity. In this context, we're speaking about one's likeness and one's voice. But the result is the same, that they can present themselves to your bank, present themselves as you, and say, hey, I'd like to access some money. When we use AI to clone the likeness and voice, that person can now pick up the phone or go on Facebook, on WhatsApp, a video call one of your loved ones and say, hey, I'm in trouble, I need help. Those scams are not new, but because it's audio, I would suggest it may not have reached the stage as yet where you can fool the visible eye when you steal someone's images from a public space. You can have deep fakes, but it does require some sort of quality footage to create a deep fake. So the greater threat is the voice. The greater threat is anytime anyone steals your identity, that is a challenge. So the tool that is used is not an issue. Is what's the impact on the video when you suffer identity theft? That's the underlying issue here.
Silton Townsend, I know that neither of you guests are psychologists, but one gets the sense that a person could become very traumatized if they see an image of someone who looks like them speaking, but they know it's not them. And how does this strike you, Silton Townsend?
Hello?
Yes, sir. We are hearing you.
I can hardly hear you. I don't know if it is my device or what, but I can hardly hear you. I'm hearing you, but not clear, not loudly now.
Okay. I was indicating, well, let me shorten the question. Do you think it could become very traumatizing to you, for example, if you see your image and you hear your voice in a broadcast, on a video, speaking about things, and you know personally that you never took part in any such thing?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I hear the scenario, but I didn't hear the question. What was the question?
How would you feel if you were...
How would I feel?
Yes.
Well, I guess the first thought I would have was what I had when I used to watch myself on Lime Shield Lane. But today, if I saw something like that, I would be in awe. And I would really be in awe. I would be in shock at the way. But because I know the kind of times we're living in, and I know what technology can do, and so on and so forth, I would say, okay, so somebody has done something with me, somebody, the spirit of scamming and whatever, and deception, which is very, very active in our world today. I would say, well, that is it. And then that would raise many questions.
Mas Gossi, you mentioned deception, or the spirit of deception. Hold that thought 1 second. We are upon a break already. Listeners, please stay with us. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
Time is now 7:15 a.m. You're in
invited to listen to Dollars and Cents every Thursday at 8:16 a.m. We'll give you tips on how to make your money count, how to save, and how to grow your wealth. It's all inside Dollars and Cents, brought to you by BPM Financial Limited, taking you higher. That's Dollars and Cents every Thursday at 8:16 a.m. on the family station, Love 101.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
Hurricane Beryl has left many in St. Elizabeth urgently needing assistance. We here at the family station Love 101 invite you to be your brother's keeper by donating non-perishable items, bottled water, clothing, hygiene products, over-the-counter medicine, and more by Thursday, July 18, 2024. Please drop off your contributions at our office, 81 Hagley Park Road, Kingston 10. For cash donations, call us at 876-968-9596 or 876-968-9597. Thank you for your contribution. We are stronger together.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the first watch, and we're looking at the topic in the first watch, or the main watch, AI. It's the spirit of deception or just a scam? Our guests in this first watch are Chuck Cameron, attorney at law, and Silton Townsend, who is founder of Hello My Neighbor on Love 101 FM, and he's also a lay preacher. I should also add that in terms of Chuck Cameron, he's also a privacy practitioner, design privacy. Chuck Cameron, if someone finds that they have fallen victim to such a thing, you know, their image and their voice is being used, for instance, in an advertisement that they have nothing to do with, or in a video that they know nothing about. They know that they were not there, they were not filmed, but they are seeing their image and their voice being used. What can they do legally, if anything, to seek a remedy?
So that's a more straightforward question, but just to go back to your first question, our courts have recognized that individuals can suffer emotional distress and trauma when once your personal your identity has been stolen. So that has been established because there's a heightened sense of concern about how are they using their identity. Persons will also suffer a loss of autonomy, and that goes to the heart of one individual is the ability to determine what you do and how you present yourself and how you manage your personal information. So the Data Protection Act does recognize your likeness and your voice as biometric data, which is considered to be sensitive personal data. And it's considered to be sensitive personal data above personal data because of the damage you can suffer once it's stolen and the extent to which persons can exploit it. In terms of remedy, it is a criminal offense under our Data Protection Act to breach one's right to privacy. And so, yes.
Well, you could have finished your thought. I thought you were through, and then I realized you were continuing to speak. Continue.
Correct. So, thank you very much. So, it is a right to your constitutional right to privacy, and it's also covered specifically in our Data Protection Act. From a commercial you can be awarded financial damages in terms of compensation. You can be compensated financially for the damages you would have suffered. Given a rich intellectual property history, we could also take out a copyright action where you could recover commercial damages as well. And it's also, right, you could also recover commercial damage under our Copyright Act. And then there's immediate relief of seeking an injunction. Well, you don't need to rely on civil law, especially when it's a criminal offense. So you contact the police, tell them there's URL scamming going on under the Data Protection Act, and proceed. We now have an Office of Information Commissioner that you can go directly to the Information Commissioner and seek assistance as well.
And I'm just imagining that in terms of tracing the source of this video with your image and likeness that, of course, you have nothing to do with, I suppose the relevant authorities would do what they can to trace the origin of it.
Correct. So it would be published. Well, it enters the internet somewhere.
Yes.
And embedded in the digital information are a lot of fields. So it is, once you enter that world, while you can take steps to deceive, to hide and mask the origin, it is with the right tools, it becomes that much more easier to track with the right tools.
Understood. Silton Townsend, in terms of another area in which this might sit with you and others, sir, you mentioned something when you spoke earlier about the times we are living in. What does this have to do with anything in terms of the signs of the times? Some persons looking at all of this, not to take away from anything that Mr. Cameron said, but some person looking at it from another angle will see it as evil, unbiblical, a sign of even the end times. Do you see any connection there, sir? Or is it just a view of some people that you may not necessarily agree with? Your thoughts, Silton Townsend. Are you hearing the question? Let me see. Are you hearing well, sir? Silton Townsend, I think you're now connected well. You're muted, Silton Townsend. We'd like to unmute yourself. While we try to have...
In terms of signs of times, Sir Stokeley,
yeah.
In scanning personal identity theft is nothing new under the sun. For example, that is why you'd have always needed a notary to verify documents. That is why you'd need a justice of the peace to verify documents. That is why societies have set up institutions to validate the identity of an individual.
Oh, not an issue with that, Mr. Cameron. In communicating with you on this matter, I'm assuming, I'm taking it for granted that maybe I'm assuming that you're speaking in the temporal sense. I was trying to get a view from Silton Townsend in the spiritual sense, since he's a little preacher. But go ahead, Mr. Cameron.
In the spiritual sense, I'm suggesting that nothing new has been introduced to raise any greater sense of fear or caution, because this question of stealing of one's personal identity has always existed. So
that would include even the voice, where you're seeing an image of yourself and you didn't take part in it. It might be a little bit heightened. I don't know if you'd agree with that. When you steal someone's account, it's an account that is stolen online.
No, you don't steal someone's account. What you do, you steal their personal identity. you present yourself to the bank.
I'm agreeing with you. You gave an example earlier when you mentioned, if I heard you correctly, where previously it might have related only to maybe stealing someone's account, or did I hear you correctly? I thought that's what you said.
No, I'm saying that you now get access to one's account once you steal someone's personal identity.
Understood.
So the offense and the action is always the stealing of one's personal identity.
Understood.
So that is what has been consistent from the beginning of time. But all that has happened is that technology has improved. But that question of a third party stealing your personal identity and presenting themselves as you, remember, people would dress like you, people would speak like you. I'm sure a lot of us would have watched Mission Impossible. That is always how Tom Cruise is able to solve his big problems. He puts on a mask and imitates your voice.
Interesting you went there and that you mentioned that, because by doing it might take a certain special skill to do what Tom Cruise did, but if you can replicate it digitally, it makes it that much more interesting. I don't know if you'd agree.
The technology is now available to all.
Yes. Let's see if we can have Mr. Townsend comment now. Mr. Townsend, are you not able to hear us, or can we now hear you? Silton Townsend? I think he's still muted. Silton Townsend, I gather that you're still muted, sir. You might want to unmute yourself. Let's make another attempt. Silton Townsend? Mas Gossi? In terms of legal remedies, sir, you did indicate quite a number of them. Any other guidance you want to leave with us, Chuck Cameron, as we try to unravel this new era for many of us, notwithstanding that in times past, there were other ways in which it was being done. Chuck Cameron?
What it means is that we have trained ourselves to become robot-like in our interactions.
Unpack that. What do you mean by we have trained ourselves to become robots-like in our interactions? Unpack that for us.
When you communicate with a friend over the phone, or just passing a stranger in general, one would usually, or interact with someone in a supermarket. There is given how busy we all are trying to improve ourselves and strive for the mighty dollar, our interactions are very limited and superficial.
Okay.
So we take very little time to get to know an individual. So the danger in that is when that same person that you've only interacted with in a superficial manner, when that person's clone now calls on the phone, there's nothing unique about the individual that you can identify. You only know how his voice sounds.
Interesting. You may not know enough detail about them to know if it's really them.
And it's not even details, it's just the level of interaction. When we speak to another person, do we look in their eyes?
Yes.
Do we empathize with them? Do we understand? So that is where, when we want to speak about spirituality, for me comes in. It's not the technology that is the challenge. It's the lack of humanity, the lack of humaneness in how we interact with each other.
Hold that thought, Chuck Cameron, hold that thought, only because of time, and I think we are now able to hear Silton Townsend. Silton Townsend, can we hear you now, sir?
I'm trying. Can you hear me now?
We are hearing you now, sir. We are now hearing you.
You hear me now?
Yes. How does all of this strike you from a biblical perspective, sir? We have heard the perspective of Chuck Cameron. He even gave us spiritual perspective. How does it strike you spiritually, biblically?
Okay. Well, we know AI, it has its advantages and disadvantages, like I said. But because of the times and seasons that we're living in, all right, I think it is used. AI can be easily used to deceive people. Jesus did speak about the end times and the spirit of deception. And that spirit is very, very strong today. So what AI can do at this time is to advance this spirit of deception. And we see it everywhere. For somebody to use somebody's face, and other features to pull up a scam or to scam somebody.
I'm getting a signal. Mr. Townsend, I think we have heard you loud and clear. I don't think anyone would disagree with you, but alas, we are completely and totally out of time. We only try to give a little bit more leeway because we know you had challenges with your audio. I want to thank Mr. Cameron and Mr. Townsend for being with us in this first watch. Very interesting. Up next, the second watch, and before that, we'll be looking at our newspapers to see what others are saying and doing. The morning watch. We'll be back after this break.
The time by Jam Bank is
7:31.
Sharing the experience at Fontana Pharmacy. We have a wide variety of items in store just for you. Fill your prescriptions while you shop. And senior citizens enjoy 10% off. Shop household, cosmetics, toys, and many other departments. We also offer curbside pickup and delivery. Visit our website at fontanapharmacy.com. Fontana Pharmacy, where it's all good inside.
Don't let freshness ditch you when you need it the most. Wash your clothes with Downy Softener to keep dazzling everyone around you from day to night. Try Downy Softener now.
In life, the more you have, the more you have to lose.
the more you love, the more you worry. The more you own, the less you sleep.
The more people rely on you, the more you have on your mind.
I have peace of mind,
Knowing that whatever I own,
and whoever I care about are covered by the very best.
with Sagicor Life and Advantage General, get life, health, and general insurance to help you protect what matters most.
Hiya! Don't let the hurricane season catch you without your supply of Lanco roof coatings. Get the Lanco Duraflex, Urethanizer, Siliconizer, or Siliconizer Plus to seal and waterproof the roof. No leaking or moisture problems. Lanco roof coatings reflect the sun rays and reduce the heat inside your house. Use Lanco coatings on your sink, slab, asphalt, wood, and shingle roof. Available at your local hardware store. Lanco, your waterproofing experts.
Enjoy yummy for the summertime. Win big for the back to school. It's the Yummy Summer Back to School promotion. Purchase one each of these yummy products. Yummy cheese bread, cornbread, jamboree, and 5-ounce buns. Write your name, address, and contact number on the back of your receipt and mail with the empty packages. Send in with your Yummy salesman or drop off at your nearest Yummy agency or entry box in participating supermarkets. Enter today and win your share of over 1.4 million in cash and prizes. Win big for the back to school. Follow us at Yummy Bakery JA for more details. Authorized under Section 58 of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act.
On your mark, set, get ready to go. It's time for the True Juice 5K, the one-of-a-kind experience taking you through the beautiful True Juice orchards in Mopwalk, Sunday, July 21, 2024. Register now at truejuice.com. Entry fee only $2,500. Come run, walk, and have fun while raising funds for the Lincoln Hospital. Follow at True Juice on Instagram for more details.
Need to beat the heat this summer? Come to Fosridge for your ceiling fans at prices as low as $15,000. Their sleek and stylish 52-inch fan blades are designed to fit and complement your interior decor. Call them now at 876-937-5099 or visit any of their locations in Kingston, Mandeville, Montego Bay, and their newest location, Draxall. Beat the heat this summer at Fosridge with their Madison ceiling fans. Prices as low as $15,000. Open Sundays.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Let's take a look now at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans are saying and doing. We have in the Daily Observer, $1 billion for burial victims. We have in Loop Jamaica News, Integrity Commission's directors afraid refused to give statement after being shot. Police appeal to him to speak to investigators so probe can progress. We have among the lead stories in the Gleaner, course crisis. The Norman Manley Law School at the University of the West Indies Mona campus. Dozens of Year 2 students at the Norman Manley Law School are crying foul following the results received for the institution's course in ethics for the legal profession that show an alarming number of failures. Those and many other stories in our various news sources coming up next. We'll read for some feedback from our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp question, which is AI technology just life or a tool of the devil? If you haven't done so yet, leave your responses on our Facebook or YouTube Love 101 FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp comments and voice notes to 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll be right back.
Hurricane Beryl has left many in St. Elizabeth urgently needing assistance. We here at the family station Love 101 invite you to be your brother's keeper by donating non-perishable items, bottled water, clothing, hygiene products, over-the-counter medicine, and 81 Happy Park Road, Kingston 10. For cash donations, call us at 876-968-9596 or 876-968-9597. Thank you for your contribution. We are stronger together.
I am Megan Tapple, Olympic 100-meter hurdles bronze medalist. At 5'1", I've always been asked, how you manage to clear the hurdles so easily? Truth is, I've been overcoming hurdles all my life. How? Preparation. So I always prepare for every hurdle in life. And that's why I drink True Shake. With True Shake, I get 9 grams of protein and 24 essential vitamins. I may be short, but with True Shake, I am not short of anything.
Come on, True Shake and go!
I pursue opportunities.
I prepare for opportunities.
I plan for opportunities.
With Sagicor e-Invest, you can prepare, plan for, and pursue IPO opportunities. Browse IPOs, review IPO details and prospectuses. Select and apply for a featured IPO. IPO with Sagicor e-Invest. Think wealth. Visit sagicor.com.
Well, if you want buy appliances for your home with the quality high and the price low, get it on my Basco. Get it on my Basco. Basco. Everything was a bid. Basco. Service guaranteed on my Basco. Your home is running everything in your kitchen, and more at Basco. It's good and more.
Welcome back. You're tuned into the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Let's join Jokal for a look at how our Facebook and WhatsApp friends answer today's question. Is AI technology just life or a tool of the devil? Jokal.
All right, so we have some responses here on our WhatsApp line. First up, this one is from Cherry in Spanish Town. She sent a voice note. Let's hear from her.
Good morning, blessings, Morning Watch. Workers and all listeners of Love 101. What my take on is AI good or is it part of the devil's work as well? Well, my take on it, whatever he's created, there's always good and evil. So as Christians, yes, we can adapt to AI because it is a must, because that's where the world is going now. But as Christians, we must know how much time to spend on the internet and all of that. And with AI, there is scam, and without AI, there is scam, because there was scamming before AI, and with AI, there will be more scamming. So we have to be wise and not to give out our personal information to anyone or anything suggesting anything if we don't know them personally. That's my take on it. You all have a wonderful day.
All right, that one was from Cherry in Spanish Town. Thank you. No, that's it for now.
I think people are underestimating the power of AI to do more harm than good, but I leave it at that for today. We move right into the second watch. A few weeks ago, we had a discussion on the Youth Chats chatbot. Since then, the Ministry of Health and Wellness has suspended its use, pending a comprehensive review and the responses from the church. Today, we want to follow up on that discussion. The Ministry of Health and Wellness was invited to be a part of the discussion or to discuss the topic or the matter with us here at Love FM, but they declined and they indicated, and I'm quoting here, not speaking further on this matter at this time. We leave the door open for the Ministry of Health and Wellness to talk to us about the matter. We don't want it to be said that we did not reach out to them. We have as our guest today to look at this topic again, Sarah Webster, member of the Love March movement. We also have Bishop Dr. Alvin Bailey, Vice President, Jamaica Association of Evangelicals, Senior Pastor, Portmore Holiness Christian Church. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Gentlemen, how are you both?
I'm well, thank you. Good morning. Morning to the listeners.
Yes, Bishop Dr. Bailey, Sarah Webster, are you on?
Good morning, I'm on. Glad to be here. How are you?
Not a problem having you both. Great having you both. I'm fine. And in a nutshell, what is the problem or the continued problem with the chat bot? Where have things moved from both of your perspectives in terms of the suspension of the app to where we are now? And even more recently, we're hearing about other issues arising, maybe unrelated, but maybe in the same general topic area, where it was reported in another news medium where a doctor posed certain questions to a 16-year-old female about her gender outside of the presence and hearing of her parent. It's indicated that the child was traumatized. Starting with you, Bishop Dr. Bailey, and then Sarah Webster. Bishop Dr. Bailey.
Good morning. I'm actually the president of the Jamaica Evangelical Alliance.
Oh dear.
I was hoping that you would put it to Sarah first, the youngster, because I have not been aware of any recent development.
Well, first of all, we humbly apologize to you, sir. President of the Jamaica
Evangelical Alliance.
Evangelical Alliance. Thank you for that.
Not a major offense, but I understand.
No, but we need to have it corrected. Evangelical Alliance. Sarah Webster, would you like to start, please?
Sure. Thanks again for having us. And we want to thank Love FM for being the first to interview LMM on this topic to break the story. It played a critical role in getting the word out about this youth chatbot. And so I'm just going to give a quick recap for those who didn't know the issue. So this is a chatbot. It's it generates chat just like you're speaking to somebody, but you have options that you can choose from, and it was made for youth to be a safe space that they could provide accurate and age-appropriate information on sexual health, abstinence, reproductive health, and things like that. But what we found...
Might I ask Sarah Webster, does this chatbot use AI?
Yes, of course. A lot of things use AI.
There we go. We looked at AI in the first watch. Continue.
Right. So it uses AI, and that is how it's able to generate these authentic responses that seem like it's from a human being. And so what we realized, if it was pushing heavily a lesbian, gay, transgender, bisexual agenda.
Hold that thought. It was pushing a certain agenda. We are now upon a break. Listen, please do not go anywhere at all. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
the beginner. Follow the one with pepper, better the winner. Shop on supermarkets, everybody
Great
selling.
sardines, follow the better flavor.
The time is 7:45.
The report is out.
What report?
The Constitutional Reform Committee's report of recommendations.
Recommendations
on how we move from a monarchy to a republic, of course.
So what's in it?
The creation of the office of president and changes to our parliament. Yes, man. It also includes a new qualification for membership in parliament. I know you want to see that one.
Read the full report at roadtorepublic.nlca.gov.jm.
We are on the road to republic.
Jamaica, your favorite gospel show. Jamaica Gospel Star is back on CBM TV Sundays at 8 p.m. Your votes will help to decide the winner. 10 finalists, 3 rounds of eliminations. But only one finalist will be left standing to become a 2024 Jamaica Gospel Star. Sundays on CBM TV 8 p.m.
Mama work hard, for real. She do the most to send me and my brother go school. So, the dream was always to go to university. Well, I fulfilled 2 dreams with 1 Jane Bank savings plan, you know. I further my education and I make mama proud.
Stop wishing you could. With your Jane Bank savings, you absolutely can. Jane Bank will help you find a way.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the second watch, and the topic is Health Ministry suspends Youth Chats chatbot. We're taking another look at this topic today. Our guests are Sarah Webster of the Love March Movement and Bishop Dr. Alvin Bailey, who is the president of the Jamaica Evangelical Alliance. We did extend an invitation to the Ministry of Health and Wellness to be a part of such a discussion as we're having this morning, but we were advised that they are not, well, to quote what they indicated, not speaking further on this matter at this time. Sarah Webster, just before the break, you were outlining for us or reminding us what the chatbot is about and the leaning or the direction that the chatbot takes. Go ahead, Sarah Webster.
Okay, thanks again. So, right, so it was not just a leaning, it was a direct call.
What it was directly and outright saying to
right.
persons.
It was directly saying gender is fluid, directly giving some inappropriate advice, and most alarming, it was leading children who were experiencing gender confusion to JFLAG, Jamaica Forum for Lesbians, Allsexuals, and Gays, and that was outrageous, obviously, because the people who experience gender confusion, they need help, but why would you send them to a transgender advocating organization? But in the most recent development, we thank God for the suspension. We thank God for the rally of the churches and parents. All glory to God for that, because we really saw the support of Jamaicans. And it's showing us that when we speak, something happens. So we're so happy that we're still in a country where we can do that. But interestingly, Transwave Jamaica, which is a transgender advocating group, actually sent a press release to say that the youth chatbot should remain because it is necessary it's a necessary safe space that young people need to access confidential and reliable information about their health and identities. So if a transgender advocating organization is telling you to keep the chatbot, and there's parents, Christians, churches, well-thinking Jamaicans on the other side calling for the removal or calling for the editing, then the ministry has a decision to make. Is it going to be on the side of Transwave? Is it going to support what they want in our nation? Or is it going to be on God's side? Is it going to be the side of the parents, side of science, truth, and reality? So we just wanted to make people aware of that as well. There is an alternative position that some Jamaicans want.
There is also the matter of law and policy. Jamaican law, to my understanding, doesn't support the chatbot.
Right.
And to my understanding, Jamaican policy on these matters would not support the chatbot. So I am not sure how difficult it would be to make the decision. In fact, I thought by now the chatbot would have been banned. Any comments as to whether or not it will be banned?
Well, we haven't heard an outright response. It's been suspended, but we are calling for a response, respectfully asking the ministry to just once and for all tell us, is it going to be banned? Is it going to be removed? Because we want that assurance as parents, as well-thinking Jamaicans. We want to know that the best interest of our children, our youth, our next generation is what the ministry is for.
You see,
so we would like to hear something.
If the law and policy in a particular country allows for that, then that's different. But based on law and policy in Jamaica at this time, and we hope that this time will be forever. Based on the Jamaican law and policy, it ought to be banned. Well, that's my view anyway. Bishop Dr. Alvin Bailey.
Yes, thank you very much. I think my inclusion now is quite timeless. First of all, I think that as you said, the Jamaican laws and policy does not support it. And recently, I was on an interview on TVJ, and that's exactly the point I made. If homosexuality is not legal in Jamaica, how can we have entity overtly being promoted and promoting themselves and being included in the formal structure of the operations of this country? That is the question I ask publicly for the government to answer. And it is not by accident. It is a deliberate move, and we better understand it by now, to get the LGBTQ organization and practice involved and included in the Jamaican society in a formal way. And they are part of all various institutions and formal entities. And so, the youth speaking out against it is quite in order and quite appropriate. As a matter of fact, I think it is the Ministry of Health is micromanaging. They should be speaking to the average person and matters of principles and values. I was answering some of the questions. There are a number of institutions that the Ministry of Health can engage in order to have youth being reached and concerns being addressed rather than themselves providing a chat button, enabling the chat button, contacting organizations to be talking to us. I just want us to know that it is a quest. First of all, commend the Love March movement highly. This is not the first time that I would have been speaking out against homosexuality and the LGBTQ and the efforts of many organizations, including the government, not being diligent and allowing them to have their way in institutions, including the school. And those are wide open because quite a number of education institutions are included. I believe it's been given a policy by one institution that I'm looking at, and I'm going to forward it on to Daniel, that are having their application forms so skewed as to recognize and include them. So I want to commend Love March. I want to say that we're spoken out against it as a nation. We want to go to the root of it. The root of it is you cannot have a government promoting policies, entities, actions that have anything to do with homosexuality, the whole gamut of LGBTQ delinquents.
I just want to, for the record, to just remind listeners that the anti-burglary laws, as we have them currently in Jamaica, and which hopefully will remain on our law books, they not only criminalize homosexual acts, they criminalize burglary. And they criminalize, burglary includes even bestial acts. So I just want that there. And burglary can take place as well between a male and a female. So it criminalizes burglary to include bestial acts and burglary between males and burglary between a male and a female, just for the record. But thank you for what you said, Bishop Dr. Alvin Bailey, but just to give that legal context as well. Sarah Webster, member of the Love March movement. I don't know if you're aware of a medical doctor or a report that a medical doctor was seeming to give some kind of counseling to a female. I think this was reported in Freedom Come Rain recently. And in that discussion he had with the female, he was inquiring as to her sexual identity or her sexual preference, and it traumatized the female's young person. She's about 16 years of age. Are you aware of that? And this was done outside the presence of the mother, who was told to leave the room.
Right. She was asked.
Or
Yes.
asked. Let me say asked. I'm so sorry. Asked to leave the room. You're correct.
Right.
I correct
Yes,
myself.
I
Asked
read.
to leave the room.
I read the report, and there is a sense in which we can just get desensitized to these things as Christians, and we can just think, well, all right, they asked if she likes boys or she likes girls. What's the big deal? But that just shows that our mind has been skewed. Like, we need to realize that that's not normal. It's not okay to be asking these questions. It's abnormal, especially to an underage person. And so I am aware.
And was this in a government medical facility in Jamaica?
Well, I'm not sure if it was. I don't recall it stating exactly, but even so, the medical profession has a mandate to protect, and so I don't think that it is appropriate to be asking these questions as though it's totally normal.
And the impression that I got from the article is that it might have been, but we might be looking further at this matter, so we will do some more research on it.
Right.
However, are you aware, Sarah Webb said, that there might have been some recent training in terms of medical doctors, training amongst medical doctors, where this issue of transgenderism was even being looked at? Are you aware of that? Or
yes, I have heard I have heard things like that, not confirmed. However, I would not be surprised, because this is being pushed as a part of your regular training, just like you might learn as an organization about sexual harassment. This is like part of the package deal now, LGBT, and it's couched in the diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we want people to understand that it sounds pretty, it sounds nice, it sounds like you're just tolerating, but it's so funny that the tolerance is intolerance of truth. And I want us as Jamaicans to be aware of the end goal. In the previous interview, I was inviting Jamaicans to imagine what Jamaica would look like if the root of this issue, if the transgenderism is pushed, especially among children. Things like drag queens in schools for story time and things like that. Imagine what Jamaica would be like, and decide if you want it to be like that, and then use your voice to speak up. We've seen that when we speak, things do happen. So when you're in these trainings, speak about it, spread the word, call the government to account, because we have the opportunity to decide what Jamaica we want to live in.
You know, I just want to quickly read the headline from Freedom Come Rain. I'm seeing where it is dated July the 15th, 2024. That would have been Monday. Teenager questioned on gender preference at public hospital. And this is put up by the FCR online team. This would be, I suppose, Freedom Come Rain online team. I'll read it again. The headline: teenager questioned on gender preference at public hospital. And I want to make it abundantly clear, it's not about hating anyone or hating any individual, but it's about the agenda. Before we wrap today, Bishop Dr. Alvin Bailey, any comments? And Sarah Webster, any comments?
Sure.
Starting with Bishop Dr. Alvin Bailey.
I have a comment to make on the matter. First of all, I think the most inappropriate aspect of that whole engagement is that the parents were absent. Because I think we better realize that there are a number of youngsters who are being proselytized in schools and in other entities in Jamaica that's being introduced, and the practice is prevalent among youngsters, the practice of homosexuality. And so I don't know what the doctor would have seen or suspected that might suggest that there might be some fecal-oral transmission that might necessitate a question. So that it is the fact that she was questioning the absence of her parents. Now, I think that it is time that this discussion comes out in the open. That's why the ministry upset themselves from your program, I would want to think. Because it is time that publicly we engage the conversation so that we can set a formal position on the matter for a nation to know we are going and where we want our nation, the government, where we want our nations to go.
Only because
topics on the matter is good, but we need to come out with a public discussion on the matter between the church and the government and come with a conclusion on this matter of the LGBT inclusion in our society, in our schools and elsewhere.
Only because
the conversations need to be had.
Only because of time, Bishop, we have to wrap there today. In fact, we wanted another comment, our final comment from Ms. Webster, but regrettably, we are totally out of time. I want to thank you, Bishop Dr. Bailey and Ms. Webster, for being guests with us in this second watch. Thank you for your time and for your thoughts. And thank you, listeners, for being with us. Join us again tomorrow as we look at other topical and controversial issues. And of course, visit the Love 101 FM YouTube channel, Facebook page for this and all other Love 101 FM programs. And of course, download our Love 101 app and stay connected to us, the #1 gospel station in Jamaica, Love 101 FM. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and to our guests, I am Stokeley Marshall, handing back to Love in the Morning with Chicago.
At the Ministry of Health and Wellness, we are committed to the values of care, compassion, excellence in service, integrity, teamwork, and innovation as we work to safeguard the health of our nation. The time by the Ministry of Health and Wellness is 8:01 a.m. You're now invited to listen to Forward in Faith, brought to you by the New Testament Church of God in Bayside, Portmore.